Rabbi Sai Azoi. This was the day that the whole of creation had been waiting for, since Ma'aseh Bereshis. Rashi says that the original Yom HaShishi was a remez to the ultimate day 6, the 6th of Sivan. The whole of the world was waiting for it, dependent upon that day, the day of Matan Torah. The Ramban paskins, there's actually a mitzvah not to forget, to remember the day of Matan Torah, and not just to remember that once upon a time it happened, but actually to relive it. He writes that we have to have Eineinu v'libeinu sham kol hayamim. That means picturing it. The Shloshis Yemei Hagbala, there was Moshe Rabbeinu, there was Aaron HaKohen, thunder, lightning, kolos ubrakim, the mountain shaking, the sound of the great shofar, the whole amazing scene. But why the whole fuss? Didn't this end in disaster? Before Moshe Rabbeinu had come back down, there was Chet HaEgel, Shviras Haluchos, and the Torah had to change. Only on Yom Kippur did Moshe Rabbeinu come down with the Luchos Shnios, a whole new Mahalach. So why is it so important to remember the original Matan Torah? My high. Rav Osher Arieli was born in Bnei Brak in 1957. He learned in the Ponevezh Yeshiva before moving to the Mir. He married the daughter of the great Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir, Rav Nachum Partzovitz. His daily Gemara shir, which started out as being a small shir in a bedroom in one of the buildings of the yeshiva, has today become a shir attended by well over 1,000 people and is broadcast all over the world. It's an amazingly deep, engaging, thorough work of the greatest, clearest Torah beauty, in which no stone is left unturned. In the 3.5 years that I was able to learn there, I can't remember Rav Osher hesitating or pausing, even once, or unnecessarily repeating himself. Perhaps Rav Osher is the leading Maggid Shir in the world today. He's incredible. And yet, he is so incredibly humble. I remember the day when I asked him to be the sandak for our son Akiva at his bris, and he agreed, but only on condition that we would not announce the name of the sandak at the ceremony. Or the Erev Shabbos, where he rang me to wish me Mazel Tov on a sefer, a halacha sefer that I recently put out, which I'd given him a copy of. My wife answered the phone. He introduced himself using only his first name, told her that, he really doesn't know so much about halacha, but it seems like a very good sefer, and it must all be in her merit. Back to Matan Torah and the Ramban. Why such a fuss if it all ended in disaster? So it's true that what we were given might not have lasted. There was Shviras Haluchos. But that experience, the experience of Matan Torah, that was true. And that, says the Ramban, we have to cling on to forever. That was a real experience, an earth-shattering experience. And Chazal tell us that midor ledor, in the Mesiras HaTorah, it has to be like it was on that day. Be'ema, bereses, or bezia, with fear and with intensity, with the understanding that Torah is where it's at, and nothing else in the world really matters. Listening to Rav Osher Arieli giving shir, perhaps discussing a nafkamina between two Yesh Loimars and a Tosfos, or a Rashba Lishitasoi, or referring to Gedola Achronim as the Amudei Oilam, the people who hold up the world, there's a power, there's a clarity. It's like a throwback to Matan Torah, and that experience can really change a person. Check out this incredible Maisa. A Rosh Chabura from the Mir Yeshiva was recently in a taxi with a driver who didn't seem at least overtly religious, and the driver asked him, "Do you know a Rav Arieli from the Mir?" He said, "Yes, I do." And the driver went on to explain that this Rav Arieli has played an extremely important part in his family's life. What was the story? This driver's son was a soldier who was just finishing his service in the Israeli army, and he was extremely good, talented, strong, intelligent. The army wanted him to stay on and take a further role in the army, but there was also the option of him going to university and entering into any employment field that he wanted. This young man had to come to Yerushalayim to take care of some business, and he found himself on Rehov Shmuel Hanavi, not so far from the Mir Yeshiva. But it started raining very strongly, so he went to take shelter next to a building. That building is a place where Rav Osher gives shir in Hebrew twice a week. And this young soldier started to listen to a shir for the first time in his life. He was absolutely enraptured by what he was hearing. He never heard something like that before. And he stayed there while it was raining, listening to the shir until the shir came to the end. He was motionless at what he'd heard and the experience that he'd gone through. As he was standing there, Rav Osher Arieli came out of the shir and he saw this young soldier taking shelter. The first thing he did, in his modesty and kindness, was to offer instinctively the soldier shelter under his umbrella. V'kach hava ma'isa. They carried on walking together and the soldier started speaking to Rav Osher in learning about the shir that he gave. And that for him was a life-changing experience. And the driver told the Rosh Chabura, my son today, he's an Avrech in the Mir Yeshiva in the Beis Shalom building. Listening, seeing, experiencing that shir had changed his life forever. As Shavuos approaches, we may not all get the chance to go to or even go back to Rav Osher Arieli's shir. But in our Avodas Hashem and our Libera Torah, as the Ramban teaches us, let's strive to continue and relive the experience and the power of that awesome day of Matan Torah. A good Shabbos and a good Yom Tov.